What is fear? A whisper in the silence, a shadow at the edge of vision. And what is anxiety? The echo of thoughts unwritten, a tremor of futures yet unlived. These feelings, ancient and restless, speak in the tongue of time. But do we listen, or do we turn away? Carl Jung once said, "What you resist not only persists, but will grow in size." These words, a key, a quiet revelation. Fear is no enemy. Anxiety, no foe. They are messages, signals, guides. Today I invite you, step closer, lean into their whispers, discover the truth they hold. Fear, the ancient guardian, standing watch at life's thresholds. It shielded our ancestors from the jaws of beasts, and now it guards our hearts, our dreams, our fragile hopes. Anxiety walks beside it, a quieter sibling, charting the uncharted, mapping futures yet unseen. But these are not barriers, they are doors. Imagine anxiety as a mirror, reflecting not just your fears, but your deepest aspirations. What does it show you? What truth does it hold? Jung spoke of the shadow, that hidden place within. Becoming whole requires confronting the shadow. To face it, daunting, yes, but liberating. In that shadow lies strength, pieces of yourself forgotten. To confront the shadow is to say, yes, I am afraid, but in my fear, I find my power. And what of today's world? The noise, the demands, the endless swirl of perfection's illusions, social media's glossy mirages, the labyrinths of modern life, pressing in, walls growing higher. But within this pressure, anxiety speaks. It whispers, slow down, reconnect, be present. Jung believed, awareness of one's inner processes is the first step to change. And so we listen, not with judgment, not with resistance, but with open hearts. What if fear? What if anxiety were teachers? What if their lessons were the tools of growth? Start here. Acknowledge your fear. Name it. What am I afraid of? Why does it matter? Ground yourself in now. The breath, the touch, the quiet pause. These bring you back. Act through the fear. One step. A step small but sure shifts the unknown. Jung reminded us. The meaning of life is to meet fear, not to avoid it. What is fear, really? A tremor beneath the skin, a tightening of breath, a weight that presses on your chest. And what is anxiety? The pulse of thoughts that race too fast, a landscape of possibilities untold, a map of roads you fear to travel. These emotions, old as time, speak in the language of our deepest selves. They are not strangers, but guides, pointing us towards something unseen. Carl Jung once said, "The greater the contrast, the more radiant the light." In the dark, we fear the unknown. But what if it is only the shadows of our own minds? What if the darkness is merely an invitation to discover the light that lies just beyond? Fear guards us, but it also challenges us. It stands at the gate, testing our resolve. Anxiety walks quietly beside it, a companion to those who dare to move forward. So St. Jung reminded us, EP forward. You are not alone. You are stronger than you think. And in embracing your fear, you embrace your true self. Thank you for walking this path with me. Let the journey begin. What if fear? What if anxiety were not the enemies we've been taught to see them as? What if they are the silent teachers we've ignored for too long? In the chaos of modern life, with its endless demands, the pressure to perform, to be perfect, we forget to listen to the whispers within, the whispers that come from our deepest selves, from the parts of us we've buried in our pursuit of external approval. Jung spoke of the inner child, that raw, vulnerable part of us, the one that feels, that fears, that craves love and acceptance, the one we often push aside in our quest for control, for safety. But what if that inner child is the key to your freedom? What if the fear you feel today is simply the voice of that child wanting to be heard, wanting to be seen, wanting to be understood? What if the fear, the anxiety, the tension you carry are not flaws or weaknesses, but signals of parts of you that are calling out for attention, for healing? Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." This becoming is not a smooth path. It is a journey through fear, through uncertainty, through the deep, uncharted waters of the soul. But in this journey, we discover the parts of ourselves we've kept hidden. And here's the truth: the things we fear the most are often the things that, when faced, open the doors to our truest selves, the things that allow us to step fully into our own power, to reclaim the pieces of us we've lost along the way. Now, I know this may sound daunting. The thought of facing our fears can be terrifying. But let me remind you of this: the fear you feel is a bridge to the life you've always dreamed of. What if the very act of stepping into the unknown is the act of claiming your own life, of defining who you are, of choosing your path? Fear doesn't have to paralyze us. It can propel us, push us toward growth, toward discovery. What if, instead of running away from fear, you embraced it as part of you? What if you said, "I am afraid, but I am not afraid to move through this fear"? What if, in that very moment, the fear lost its power over you? Jung believed that the only journey is the one within. And so, the real work begins not out there, in the world of distractions and expectations, but in the depths of your own heart, in the quiet spaces where fear speaks loudest. What if you took a moment, just a moment, to sit with that fear? Not to fight it, not to push it away, but to welcome it, to listen. In those moments, when you allow yourself to simply be with fear, to sit in the discomfort, something miraculous happens. You begin to notice the small shifts inside you. The tightening in your chest loosens. The restlessness starts to settle. And in the silence, you find a power you never knew you had. Fear, you see, is not something to conquer. It is something to understand, to befriend. And when we do that, when we stop resisting, when we lean into the fear no longer controls us. We become its masters. I ask you now, what would happen if you stopped avoiding the places that scare you? What would happen if you started embracing those moments and allowed them to transform you? What would happen if you looked into the eyes of your own fears and whispered, "I see you, and I choose to move forward anyway"? Jung's wisdom calls us to move beyond mere survival. He says, life really does begin at 40. Up until then, you are just doing research. What does he mean by this? It means that until we truly face our fears, until we learn to sit with our anxiety, we are merely gathering information about ourselves. The real life, the real transformation, happens when we embrace what scares us most, when we begin to live from a place of authenticity, of courage, of acceptance. So, friends, take a moment to acknowledge where you are, to look at the fear that rises within you, to not shy away from it, but to stand with it. What is it telling you? What is it showing you about the path ahead? The road to growth, to true freedom, is not paved with certainty. It is paved with vulnerability, with courage, and yes, with fear. But let me leave you with this final thought. The greatest secret you will ever uncover is that you're already whole. You're already enough. And the fear you feel today is not a wall to keep you out, but a door to guide you back to yourself. So take that step, embrace the fear, let it lead you, and know, always, that you are not alone. The journey is long, but it is worth every step. And in the end, you will find that fear, anxiety, and all the things that once held you back were the very things that pushed you forward. Thank you for taking this journey with me. The road to your truest self is waiting. It is time to walk it. Thank you for trusting this journey, for daring to take the step into the unknown, for listening to the quiet whisper of your own soul. Because, dear friend, in that very listening, you begin to change. You begin to see that the struggle within you is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of life, of growth, of evolution. Fear, anxiety, they are not villains. They are simply messengers, bringing you closer to who you are meant to become. They are the pulse of your own transformation, the spark that ignites your deepest potential. We live in a world that teaches us to run, to avoid, to distract. But in truth, it is in the moments of stillness, in the quiet reflection on our inner fears, that we find the power to truly live. There's a powerful truth Jung once shared. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely, to look into the mirror of your own soul and see not just the flaws, not just the parts of you you've tried to hide, but also the brilliance, the raw, untapped potential that has been waiting for you all along. And what if that terrifying thing, the full acceptance of yourself, is the very key to your liberation? What if the fear you feel in the face of your own truth is just a doorway to the freedom you've been seeking, to the peace that doesn't come from outside, but from within? You see, this journey is not about fixing something broken. It's not about becoming someone you're not. It's about remembering who you truly are, uncovering the layers of conditioning, of societal expectations, of fear-based beliefs that have kept you from your essence. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." These words carry weight, because when we avoid the uncomfortable parts of ourselves, when we refuse to face our fears, we unconsciously allow them to dictate our choices, our relationships, our path in life. But when we choose to be present with our emotions, when we choose to sit with our fear, to accept it without judgment, we bring light to the darkness. We reclaim our power. We take back the reins of our own lives. The key is this: embrace your fear. Don't try to escape it. Don't push it away, but allow it to be the compass that guides you towards the life you've always dreamed of. The life that is fully yours. The life that exists in the space between fear and love. You are not your fear. You are not your anxiety. You are the one who faces them, the one who walks through them. And in doing so, you transcend them. Think about it. Every time you act in the face of fear, you are rewriting your story. You are creating a new narrative, one where fear no longer holds power over you, but becomes a catalyst for growth, for discovery, for transformation. In the end, fear will always be a part of us. It will come and go, but it no longer needs to define us. What defines us is our ability to rise above the stories that fear tells us, to rise above the limiting beliefs that anxiety brings. As Jung said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." This is the truth. The power lies in your choice. You have the power to decide, to choose how you respond to fear, how you walk through life with courage, how you create the future you deserve. So I ask you now, what will you choose? Will you choose to face your fear, to walk through the unknown? Will you choose to listen to the whispers of anxiety and allow them to guide you, not into darkness, but into the light of your own potential? The world is waiting for you to step into your greatness, not in spite of your fear, but because of it. Fear will always be there, but you have the strength to rise above it, to move through it, and to grow beyond it. Remember this, you are the hero of your own story. Fear is not your enemy. Anxiety is not your enemy. They are your teachers, your companions, your guides. Thank you for walking this path with me. You are stronger than you know, more capable than you think, and the journey ahead is waiting for you to take the next step. So, step forward. Embrace your fears, embrace your anxiety, and discover the incredible power within you. Your story is not over yet. It's only just beginning. And you, dear friend, are the one writing it. Thank you for staying with me, for allowing the words to settle deep, for being present in the discomfort of this journey. Because, dear friend, this is where the magic happens. In the spaces between the thoughts, in the moments when we pause and allow ourselves to feel. You see, fear and anxiety are not merely personal experiences. They are universal. They are woven into the fabric of human history. Since the dawn of time, human beings have faced these challenges. Each generation, each culture, has wrestled with its own forms of fear, its own anxieties. And yet, in these struggles, we find the seeds of wisdom. Consider the ancient Greeks, with their concept of demonic forces, the unseen energies that shape their lives. In Greek philosophy, fear was not to be denied, but understood as part of the human condition. The philosopher Socrates, in his search for wisdom, embraced fear as a part of his journey. He believed that the examination of fear and doubt was the very process of discovering the truth. Socrates was not afraid to face the unknown, to confront the anxieties of the soul. He believed, the unexamined life is not worth living. This is an invitation to look within, to examine the things that frighten us, to question our assumptions, and in doing so, to grow. Jung too understood this truth. In his work with the unconscious, he explored how fear and anxiety are deeply tied to the shadow, that hidden part of ourselves where our repressed emotions, desires, and fears reside. Jung saw the shadow not as something to fear, but as a place of potential, a place where we hide our greatest strengths and weaknesses, the very things that, when embraced, can lead to our fullest potential. In his own life, Jung faced tremendous personal fear, the fear of isolation, the fear of facing the unknown depths of his psyche, the fear of losing control over his own mind. And yet, it was through his confrontation with these fears that he discovered the vastness of his own inner world. He did not avoid them. He walked through them, and in doing so, he uncovered insights that have helped millions to this day. What Jung showed us was that fear and anxiety are not forces to be eliminated, but forces to be integrated. In the very things we try to push away, the places we resist most, we find the greatest potential for healing and growth. Take, for example, the life of Vincent van Gogh, one of the most brilliant artists to ever live. His life was plagued with immense anxiety and fear. He struggled with mental illness, but he did not let these struggles define him. In fact, Van Gogh's fears, his inner torment, were the very wellspring of his art. In his letters to his brother, Van Gogh spoke openly about his fear of inadequacy, of being misunderstood. And yet, it was through his pain, his vulnerability, that he created masterpieces that continue to move the world today. He once wrote, "I put my heart and soul into my work and have lost my mind in the process." His fear did not diminish his creativity, it fueled it. Through his struggles, he gave the world a glimpse into the depths of his soul, a testament to the power of embracing one's inner turmoil. You see, fear is not just something we face individually. It is woven into the stories of our culture, our art, our history. It is a thread that runs through the human experience. And when we stop running from it, when we stop fearing the things that frighten us the most, we unlock something profound within. Think of Nelson Mandela, whose entire life was marked by the fear of oppression, by the anxiety of fighting an unjust system. He spent 27 years in prison, yet in those years, he faced his fears head-on. He did not shy away from them, but confronted them with strength and dignity. Mandela once said, "I have walked that long road to freedom. I have tried not to falter. I have made missteps along the way. But I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb." What is remarkable about his journey is that he did not allow fear to stop him. He did not let the anxiety of facing insurmountable odds control his actions. Instead, he used that fear as fuel. He used it to propel him forward in his fight for justice, for equality, for freedom. Mandela's story is not just the story of a man who overcame oppression. It is the story of a person who embraced his own fear, and through it transformed both himself and the world around him. And so, we return to the present, to our own lives, to our own fears and anxieties. These fears, be they personal or collective, whether they stem from the past or arise from the present, are not curses. They are invitations, invitations to growth, to courage, to becoming more of who we are meant to be. As Jung wrote, "The greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insolvable. They can never be solved, but only outgrown." This outgrowing happens when we stop running from our fears, when we start embracing them, understanding them, and allowing them to shape us into stronger, wiser individuals. Today, I ask you, what fear are you avoiding? What part of yourself have you been unwilling to face? Is there a shadow within you that you've been afraid to confront? If so, it's time to step into that shadow, to claim it, and in doing so, to transform it into something beautiful, something powerful, something that will serve you in ways you never imagined. Remember, the road to transformation is not without fear, but it is through facing that fear that we find our strength. Jung believed, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. So, dear friend, embrace the fear, walk through it, and watch as it unfolds the deepest parts of yourself, the parts that will shape the life you're meant to live. Thank you for walking this path with me, for breathing in the air of transformation, for daring to step into the shadows, where the light of understanding begins to burn brighter. I want you to pause for a moment. Right now, take a breath, let it fill you up, feel the weight of it in your chest, and acknowledge something deep within you. You are not alone. Fear often convinces us otherwise. It tells us that we are isolated, that we are broken, that we must hide our vulnerabilities. But what if I told you that fear in all its power is the greatest invitation we can receive? The invitation to remember who we truly are. You see, the reason fear feels so intense, so all-consuming, is because it speaks directly to our sense of self. It asks us, who are you, really? Are you brave enough to face me? Are you strong enough to rise? And in that moment of truth, when the cold fingers of anxiety grip your heart, when the heavy shadow of doubt clouds your thoughts, you have a choice. You have the power to decide, will you shrink away, or will you stand up? Look that fear in the eyes and say, I am here. I am willing to face this. What happens when we take that step? What happens when we stop running? When we stop resisting the very thing we fear? We learn. We grow. We expand beyond the limits we once believed we had. Think about the great adventurers of history, people who have journeyed into the unknown, people who've crossed oceans, climbed mountains, faced impossible odds. Their fear was real, just like yours. But they knew something we sometimes forget, that the only way through the storm is to sail directly into it. Imagine the courage of Amelia Earhart, who faced a fear unlike any other, the fear of the unknown. The fear of the vast, uncharted skies. She once said, "The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity." Amelia's decision to face her fear led her to become the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic. It was not the absence of fear that allowed her to succeed. It was her willingness to act in spite of it. And what about Marie Curie, the woman who discovered radioactivity, a feat that changed the world forever? Her discovery came with immense risks. The fear of exposure to dangerous radiation, the fear of failure, the fear of judgment. But she pressed on, driven by the pursuit of knowledge, by the desire to uncover the truth, no matter how terrifying that truth might be. She once said, "Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood." And through her understanding, through her courage to face the unknown, she changed the course of science forever. So, what about you? What is it that you fear? What is the unknown that stands before you and holds you back from stepping into your fullest potential? Let me tell you something. That fear is not here to harm you. It is not here to defeat you. It is here to show you where you are meant to go. It is here to guide you toward the path that will lead you to your own greatness. But you must choose to see it differently. You must choose to stop running from it and instead look it in the face and say, "I will walk with you. I will not let you control me. You will not define my life." What happens when you choose this? When you choose to step forward in spite of the fear, you begin to uncover your inner power, the strength you never knew you had, the courage that has always been inside of you, waiting to be awakened. It's a beautiful paradox, isn't it? That when we embrace fear, when we confront it head on, it dissolves its grip on us. It loses its power to control our lives because we've taken control back. Jung said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." And so, I ask you now, what part of yourself are you afraid to accept? What part of you have you been running from, not realizing that in embracing it, you will find your truest freedom? The fears you carry are not curses. They are invitations to transform. They are keys to the doors of your own self-discovery. And when you dare to open those doors, you will find yourself standing in the light of your own limitless potential. You can do this. You will do this. Because you are stronger than you think. You are more powerful than you have been taught to believe. And it is time for you to step into that power. There is no better time than now. Take a breath. Feel the air fill your lungs. And step forward. Step forward with courage. Step forward with strength. Step forward through the fear. And know that on the other side of it is the real you, unshaken, unstoppable, and more beautiful than you ever imagined. Thank you for being here, for facing the unknown with me. You are not alone, and you are so much more than your fear. Thank you for staying with me, for continuing to walk the path of self-discovery, for daring to confront the parts of yourself that you may have long hidden, the parts that you feared would break you, but now, you see, these are the parts that will heal you. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." This is the journey we are on, the journey to reclaim the lost parts of ourselves, the journey to uncover the truth of who we are. And it begins with one simple step, the decision to face fear, not as an enemy, but as a teacher. You may be wondering, how can fear be a teacher? How can anxiety, a feeling that grips us with such intensity, ever guide us toward growth? Let me tell you this. Fear is not here to stop you. It is here to remind you of your potential. It is a reflection of the strength that lies hidden within you, waiting to be unlocked. Jung believed that we are all born with an inherent potential, but we are also born with the tendency to repress parts of ourselves. The parts that scare us, the parts that make us feel vulnerable. And so we build walls. We push these feelings into the shadow, out of sight, out of mind. But in doing so, we deny ourselves the full range of our humanity. When we face fear head on, when we bring it into the light, we give ourselves the chance to grow, to integrate the pieces of ourselves that we have long avoided. This is what Jung meant when he spoke of the shadow. He said, "The shadow is the person you don't want to be." But what if I told you that the shadow is not a monster, but a part of your psyche that longs to be understood? What if the parts you fear most about yourself, the doubts, the insecurities, the vulnerabilities, are the very things that can lead you to your highest self? What if these fears, these shadows, are the keys to your freedom? You see, when we resist the shadow, when we hide from our own truths, we create an internal conflict. A struggle that drains our energy, that keeps us stuck in a cycle of anxiety and self-doubt. But when we face it, when we embrace the shadow, it no longer holds power over us. It becomes a part of the whole, a part of the person we were always meant to be. Jung's wisdom reminds us that the path to self-acceptance is not through evasion, but through acceptance. The acceptance of one's life and destiny is the key to inner peace, he wrote. And so, I ask you, what parts of your life, what parts of your story have you been running from? Maybe it's the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of not being enough. But understand this, these are not your enemies. They are the catalysts for your growth, the stepping stones that will take you closer to your authentic self. What if failure was not the end, but the beginning of something new? What if rejection was not a sign of your inadequacy, but a redirection towards something better, something more aligned with your true path? Take a moment, sit with that thought, feel the weight of it, and notice how your body reacts. Does the fear still grip you as tightly? Or does it loosen, just a little bit? Jung's teachings urge us to meet these challenges with courage, to say, yes, I am afraid. Yes, I am uncertain. But in that uncertainty, I will find my truth. Remember, there is no transformation without conflict. There is no growth without discomfort. And there is no true peace without facing the parts of ourselves that we would rather hide. You are not broken. You are not flawed. You are whole. You are on a journey of reclaiming yourself, and each step, no matter how small, brings you closer to the truth of who you are meant to be. Jung also said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens." This is your invitation to awaken, to look within, and find the strength that you may have long overlooked. This is the journey of embracing your fear, not as something to conquer, but as something to understand. So, as we continue this journey together, remember that every moment of fear, every wave of anxiety, is simply a call to go deeper, to understand more, to become more. The fear you feel, it's not the end, it's just the beginning. And through it, you will discover parts of yourself that are more magnificent than you could have ever imagined. Carl Jung said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain. But the pain, the fear, is the crucible in which the truest version of yourself is forged. It's through facing this pain that you are reborn, stronger, wiser, more whole. So don't turn away. Embrace it. Step forward. And remember, you are more than your fear. You are everything that lies beneath it. And you are ready to discover just how powerful that truly is." Thank you for embracing this journey with me, for looking within, for allowing yourself to awaken. You've walked with me this far, and I honor the courage it takes to go within, to face the things that scare us, to look into the shadows and realize they hold not only fear, but also wisdom, strength, and power. As we near the end of this journey, I want you to take a moment to reflect. Reflect on what you've learned, on what you felt, and on the steps you're ready to take. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And today, you've taken another step toward that truth. You've allowed yourself to sit with discomfort, to let the fear come forward, and to meet it with curiosity instead of resistance. This is no small feat. Remember, the road to wholeness is not a straight line. It's a winding path, full of turns, of shadows and light, of fears faced and conquered. But every time you choose to lean in, every time you choose to understand rather than avoid, you grow, you're becoming. And now, I ask you, what did this journey stir in you? What fears did you confront today? What parts of yourself did you uncover, and how did it feel? Take a moment to feel those emotions, to sit with them, and let them speak to you. Now, if you feel moved, I invite you to share your thoughts, your feelings, your own journey. Leave a comment below. Let me know how this resonated with you, and let's continue this conversation. Because we are all in this together, each of us facing our fears, each of us walking towards something greater. You are not alone. You are heard, and your journey matters. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting this process. Thank you for allowing yourself to grow. Until next time, keep moving forward with courage, with curiosity, and with the knowledge that fear is not your enemy, it's your guide. Remember, you are more than your fears, and the path ahead is full of possibility. Take a deep breath and step into the future you are creating. See you next time. And don't forget to leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you.